Pete from Cheap Homesteading, and today we're going to be doing some seed starting. It's the beginning of February, and it's pretty early to do it, but last year I made a big mistake, and when I waited till March to start all my seeds started great and everything was great, but I looked around and went, the greenhouse is warm enough to have lettuce growing, tomatoes, and cucumbers of a fairly good size. So I should have started my seeds to go in the greenhouse earlier. So this year I'm going to rectify that. We're going to do our greenhouse seed starting now, and then in March we'll plant the big go seeds for the garden. So that's what we're going to be doing today, starting some OSC cucumbers. They're Telegraph English style cucumbers. When I seed start my cucumbers, I always make sure that I pre-sprout them. So what I did was I got a tray with some water, and I lay the seeds on a piece of paper towel or a cloth, and you kind of get them moist. You wrap them up, put them in a bag, and then you keep checking on them. And when you start seeing that they're sprouting, then you plant those seeds. I find that gives you great germination. I don't know what it is with cucumbers. If you plant them straight in the garden at a warmer temperature, they will germinate pretty accurately, but if you try to do them inside seed sprouting, I don't know if the house is cooler or what it is, but you just don't get good germination. So I've always got in the habit of pre-sprouting them. I put them in the bag, and once you start to see the sprouts coming, then you plant them and you know they're going to come up. So we're going to use ProMix Organic. I've had great success in the last few years with it, so I'm just kind of sticking with it. Someday I'd like to make my own potting mix, but you know, there's a lot of variables, and I just don't want to mess it up is the big thing. Especially you mess up the plants and then it kind of messes up your year. So I'm just sticking with ProMix. So let's start planting this. Probably don't recommend you doing this actually inside, but it's so much easier to film indoors at my place, and my wife is ever so tolerant of this. So you just break up the clumps. Okay, so I got these 3-inch pots at the Dollar Tree. This is kind of what I go with to start some of my seeds. I hate those little seed starting trays. The reason being is they seem to run out of space. They don't seem to hold the water good, and I find them kind of annoying. Like these, when the seed is planted in here, it can grow for a little while. It's got quite a bit of nutrients. There's a lot of dirt in there, and it's good for a bit. So you don't have to touch it. So I kind of like going with the 3-inch. I prefer to go with the biggest ones you can, but the 3-inch is definitely decent, and it is actually usable. So I'm gonna fill a bunch of these. This is 2 days since I sprouted my cucumber seeds, and I really do feel like it normally takes about, I don't know, 3-4 days to really get going. And I checked yesterday just to make sure they weren't really sprouting or anything, and there was a whole bunch that sprouted. I feel like we had pretty decent germination rate. Doesn't mean the rest aren't going to germinate. I can actually see a few that looks like they're about ready to sprout. So we're going to plant the ones at least that are germinated, and hopefully fill this tray, because I have a lot of room for cucumbers in the greenhouse along the outside wall. So I could have 30-40 cucumber plants and be happy with that. So let's get these planted. When you check them and they start to sprout, you should plant them. Like this is ideal. That's getting a little bit long. I don't think it stunts them, but it's nice to plant them before they get that long. The other ones haven't sprouted yet, but doesn't mean that they aren't. So they just take a little bit longer. So we're gonna start planting the ones that are sprouted. So I'm gonna go around, just make a little hole. You don't wanna shove pre-sprouted seeds into dirt. you want to have a hole that you just drop it in and then kind of tap and fill in the dirt around it. You don't want to break or damage that little root. And you just gently tap it. I think I want them a little deeper than what I did. Okay, so you get your seed with your sprout. You try to put your sprout down best you can, and then you just cover it up. But the other ones haven't totally sprouted yet. We're gonna cover these back up. And then tomorrow I will finish planting them. All the ones that have sprouts. So we'll put that back in the bag. Now we're gonna label them. I'll put cuke. Okay, so I ran out of popsicle sticks to label it, but I think I'll get the idea that they're English Telegraph cucumbers. So I'm gonna throw the old seed package right there. So now we're just gonna water it, and I don't like watering over it. We're gonna fill the bottom. These things are gonna try to float probably, but we'll just let it soak up the water from the bottom, so it's not going to wash the seed too much at the top. I've come back and looked at the cucumber seeds, and the rest of them have sprouted. It really had good germination rate for sure. So the first day, half of them sprouted, and I think every single one, that was 100%, well, minus that one right there. The rest are all got a sprout started. There's a little one there. That is pretty good. Out of 2 packages, 1 seed didn't germinate, and maybe it might sprout tomorrow even. You never know. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just finishing up my cucumber seed starts, and hopefully it's going to start warming up and we can start doing a little more in the greenhouse.